What is a probate? Your full guide through the probate process in California. That's our topic today, and we'll get started right after this. Although there's a debate to be had about how necessary probate actually is to settling an estate, the truth is that the probate process in California has become commonplace. Depending on the size and complexity of the estate, banks won't allow you to transfer or access anything without the official stamp of approval from the probate court. The fact that the probate process can often be confusing doesn't make matters easier. That's why we're here to break down what exactly the probate process in California means and what you can expect when going through the probate process here in California. Hi, I'm Kim Ward. I am a real estate broker and an expert with probate. I am a certified probate real estate advisor here in San Diego, California, and my team and I help executors, administrators, and trustees with homes in probate or trust administration. When someone passes away, the probate process in California, they are no longer the legal possessor of the California property, and they're no longer the legal possessor of the assets anymore. They also can't have any debts anymore. These assets and these debts need to go somewhere though. If the deceased had a complex estate, meaning if they owned a property, had various investments, and a lot of personal assets, then going through the probate process in California is usually necessary in order to validate the will, thereby ensuring that everything is smoothly transferred over to the appointed beneficiaries. The probate court is also, they're in charge of officially naming the appointed executor, or if there isn't a will, they will appoint an administrator and authorizing them to deal with the banks, insurance companies, any outstanding tax issues, and much more. When is probate necessary? The complete guide through the probate process requires the executor or the administrator to do their job if the deceased had debt and or had bank accounts, registered investments, or life insurance policies without a named beneficiary, or at financial institutions that won't hand over funds without going through probate. They mainly do this so that they can't be sued in case the will is contested at some later point. Executors might also find themselves going through probate if the estate involves California probate real estate that isn't directly being passed down to a spouse or to a common law partner. The first step of going through a California probate requires you, if you're the executor or the administrator, to ensure you're applying for probate in the right place. In San Diego, the San Diego Probate Court is your court where you or your probate attorney have to file for probate because you need to file in the county where the deceased person was living at the time of their death. And since we're on that subject, a quick note on costs. California probate is not free. You'll have to pay California probate fees during this whole process of settling the probate here in California. The California probate fees are dependent on the size of the estate. In California, probate courts charge filing fees and more. You will also experience fees beginning with 4% of the first $100,000 of the estate. The California probate fees go up from there, and you can refer to California probate statutory fees to learn about the other expenses involved in a California probate. The next step in the probate process will consist of authenticating the will if there is one. The most important document needed for the entire probate process, as well as for the executor themselves, is the decedent's will. The executor will need to hand in the will so that it can get an official stamp of approval by the probate courts. This step will also determine if anyone contests the will, or if there are any objections to the executor nominated in the will. As you can imagine, as long as no complications arise, this step goes relatively smoothly. If contentions arise, however, then your probate attorney may need to get involved. If the decedent died intestate, meaning without a will, then the California probate process is even more complicated because the probate court will need to appoint an administrator. Depending on the court, an executor or an administrator may also have to file a death certificate along with the will. Part of the probate process complete guide is authenticating the will. Also consists of legally appointing the person who has been nominated in the will as the official executor of the estate. Or again, if there isn't a will, then an administrator will need to be appointed. If you were named as executor, this might feel silly because you're already named in the will. You already spoke to the deceased before they passed, hopefully. You spoke with them about your responsibilities and you're ready to take the next steps. But in many cases, banks, insurance companies, and other financial institutions won't hand over a single cent or even return your calls unless they have a piece of paper, a letter of administration. That is confirming that yes, you are indeed the executor and you're here to act on the behalf of the estate. If there is not a will or if the will doesn't name an executor, then as I shared earlier, things get a bit more complicated. A legal process will be initiated to appoint an administrator to settle the estate and decide how to distribute it. The appointed administrator will also likely be the closest of kin. If this happens, you can expect to see potentially higher probate court costs than during a typical probate process. Moving on with the ultimate guide through the probate process is to provide a list of assets. The executor or administrator will need to have a list of assets from the estate in order to apply for the probate. Either way, having a detailed and comprehensive list of all the deceased assets as well as their estimated value will be instrumental in calculating the value of the estate for the California probate process. The assets can range from bank and investment accounts, insurance policies, or safe deposit boxes to heirlooms such as jewelry, artwork, and even property deeds. The value of the assets will possibly need to be appraised. California probate courts may also probably require you to explain how the appraisals were conducted. Next in the California probate process is notifying creditors. If the deceased had debt, most of us do, before they passed, then the administrator or executor will need to notify the creditors and potentially settle the debt. Debts are usually paid with funds from the actual estate. Paying California probate taxes, that's our next step. On top of filing any outstanding tax returns of the deceased, the executor or administrator may have to submit an estate income tax return. They will also have to take care of any possible probate taxes. And finally, in the complete guide to the California probate process is closing the actual estate. Once all fees and all debts have been taken care of, the executor or the administrator, they can petition the court to finally distribute the remaining assets to the designated California probate beneficiaries. The probate court will usually only grant this step once the executor or administrator has provided the California probate court with a detailed list of every single financial transaction that's been done on behalf of the estate through the California probate process. As you can imagine, this California probate process is not swift in any way. Making a detailed inventory of assets, having them appraised, and making sure you have ample documentation for every single step you've taken will take some time. Most California probate proceedings take 6 to 12 months and can even stretch past a year. And that's assuming that everything is going smoothly and no one is contesting. Unfortunately, going through a California probate process is still a reality for many, many families. That's why I have this channel to help make the process as painless and as uncomplicated as possible and help you understand the California probate process. I hope you found this of value. Please subscribe, like, and comment down below, and I'll see you next week.